Hello everyone, this is me again, V, and welcome to this video. Today I am going to do a reading wrap-up for 3 months. I have not been doing any reading wrap-up videos or any videos for that matter because I was not really feeling up to it, and whenever I did feel like filming, I had my university work or the assignments or just, other stuff that I was dealing with. So I was not really feeling like filming and then editing and then, I did not really feel up to it. But finally today I was like, yeah, everything's sorted. I do not have any assignments. I do not have anything to really worry about at this point. Actually, I do. I have my mids coming ahead, but they're not on my head right now, so yeah, why not film? And I am also doing this video because I wanted to do the mid-year book freakout tag, and I was like, I have not even done the reading wrap-up, so how can I just move on to the book freakout tag? So we're gonna start from all the books that I read in April till now. And yeah, without any further ado, let's just get into it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep checking which book I read in which month, because at this point I do not remember which book I read and in which month. And it's not like I've read a lot of books. I haven't been reading much so far. The best reading month that I had this year was my birthday month. I read a lot and I loved all of the books that I read that month. I'm just really thankful for Goodreads because I don't know if you guys set Goodreads goals or not, but I only set my Goodreads goal because it's not like a goal that I have to achieve. It's just like, something I'm using to number the books that I have read for me. And so far I have read 45 books this year, and the goal that I had set was 50. So I'm just kind of happy that I'm going to be reaching my goals soon, and Goodreads will still be counting the books that I am reading and tell me by the end of the year how many books I read, so that's good, isn't it? Anyway, the first book that I read in April was Chain of Gold. It was my reread. If you do not already know, Chain of Gold is the first book in the Lost Star Wars trilogy by Cassandra Clare, who is my favorite author, and I would definitely recommend you guys to read it. I rated it 5 stars because, of course, I loved it so much. I did make a reading vlog on it, so if you want to check it out, you can definitely go check it out. But it's full of spoilers for Chain of Gold, as well as, I think, minor spoilers from the Infernal Devices. So if you have not read the Infernal Devices or Chain of Gold, I would not suggest you to watch that video. Moving on to my next read, I read the best book, and it was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. It's a Greek mythology book, and I, for one, am very unfamiliar with Greek mythology. I have no idea what it is or what the concept is. I have no idea. I had no idea, actually. And The Song of Achilles is everywhere. It's popular and everybody is recommending it. Everybody is in love with it. I actually added it to my TBR last year, and I was very, very excited to read it, but I just did not know when to finally get into it. And then my friends and I decided that, yeah, let's read it. And Madeline Miller's writing is so stunning. The characters were so amazing. The Greek mythology, the way it is written, is fab. For any of you who loves Greek mythology, or for any of you who have no idea what Greek mythology is but want to get into the genre and explore it, I would definitely recommend you to read this book. It was a 5-star book for me, and if I could, I would rate it 5 million stars. I have actually watched the movie Troy, which stars Brad Pitt, and it was a very amazing movie. I was so much in love with the movie, and I was so much in love with Achilles. So when I read this book, I knew what was coming, but so many things in the movie were war focused, and in this book it was not only about war, it was just so preciously written about the characters, their friendship, their love, and yeah, the book definitely has LGBTQ+, so it made it all the more fun for me. Greek mythology, the gods, their description, how it all worked out, and I loved everything. I was so happy about it while I was reading, and I cried so much. So much. And when I went back to mark the quotes that I had to read in my reading vlog, I cried again. And when I read those quotes in my reading vlog, which was the third time that I was reading it, I cried yet again. And I know that if I go back right now to read a quote, I will be so emotional. I'll definitely have tears. The book is amazing. And you know, when a book makes me cry, it automatically gets 5 stars from me, because a book that makes me cry cannot have less than 5 stars from me. It's it for me. And yeah, even though I did not cry the first time when I was reading Chain of Gold, I loved it. But this time when I read it and I cried, I was like, yeah, these are the best 5 stars. Like wow. Okay, I guess I'm just babbling. Madeline Miller's writing is just fab. I don't know what to say about it, but it's just, I would highly recommend you all to read the Song of Achilles. I was like, everyone's loving it. Is it worth the hype? I've read it. I am telling you, it is worth the hype. You will love it. So after the Song of Achilles, I read the Six of Crows duology. I love it. But I rated both Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom 4.5 stars because they just did not reach the 5-star level for me. I loved them. I loved all the characters, each one of them, to be very honest. I loved the world. I loved the writing. I loved the plot. I ship every ship that there is in the books, and everything was perfect, but still there was just something dissatisfying about both the books, and so they were 4.5 stars for me. But don't get me wrong, I am a fan of each character, and I think we very, very much deserve a third book on them, because these characters, we need more of them. I love them, and I need more of them. Oh, by the way, you will not believe, my friend checked out the pronunciations from the Crooked Kingdom glossary, and she told me that she got spoiled about something related to a certain character, and she told me that I should not look up the glossary for that reason, and so I did not look it up. I was just pronouncing the names the way I had to pronounce them, like however they came to me. And later when I read the glossary, I was like, I fucked up this name. Okay, I'm gonna take that name in the end. The first name is Kaz, who I call Kaz because it's just fit in my head like that. And then there is Inej, who I don't know how I called her name. I guess I called her Inej or Inej, but after watching the show, so she's Inej. And then of course there's Nina, Jesper, Vylon, and the last name is Matthias. Can you guess what I called him or how I pronounced his name? Can you guess? I don't know if you can guess or not, but I called him Matthias. And it did not even seem wrong to me. But when I read the pronunciation and when I heard that name, I was like, I fucked it up. And I was mad at myself for fucking it up because I did not like the way I was pronouncing it when I understood that it's Matthias. And I don't know why I have never heard that name before. So it just did not even occur to me that I am pronouncing it wrong. But, well, he's Matthias. And I love each of the characters, but I guess that's enough about it. So yeah, do I recommend the duology? I definitely recommend the Six of Crows duology. You know, I was very disappointed in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but as much as I was disappointed in that, I'm just as much in love with this one, so definitely recommend it. I actually did make a reading vlog on Crooked Kingdom, and to be honest, I kept putting off my reading and I was just not liking it. So at one point I was like, fuck it, I will just read and mark the things that I want to talk about and talk about it later. And so after 200 pages I stopped vlogging. My vlog is actually edited and everything is ready about it, but I have yet to film an intro and an outro, which I still have not done. So I have not yet uploaded my Crooked Kingdom reading vlog, and that's it. But I will upload it soon. I have both the King of Scars duology books, but I'm not reading them yet. I'm taking a break from grishaverse, so we'll talk about it when I read them. I am very excited about it as well, and I want to read it in a time when I do not have any pressure from studies or anything, because it's about Nikolai, who is my favorite character from the Grisha trilogy, and he deserves all my attention. So yeah, so the book that I read after the Six of Crows duology was Circe. Again, I buddy read it with the same friends that I read the Song of Achilles with, and you should definitely go check out their reviews. I'll link them below, from Lila and Alyssa both. The writing was just as amazing as it was in the Song of Achilles, because it's by the same author, Madeline Miller, and I was expecting it to be just as good, and it was, and I was very happy about it. But then the book disappointed me. I love Circe, I loved it a lot, and so many things were so hilarious that I laughed out loud. But as much as the Greek mythology was well written and the writing was stunning and gorgeous and the descriptions were all rich and lush and everything was just amazing, but the problem that I had with this book was that the plot did not have any direction. It was a directionless book. Like, I don't know how to say it. It was mainly about Circe and her life, and it's a very feminist book. I really liked a lot of the things that Circe did, but then I did not like her character as much, and so many times in the book it bored me. It bored me so much I had to shut it, and I had to tell myself to just not think about it because I did not like it. It bored me so much that I had to just take a break from it, and I was frustrated with it. I was like, why is this book so boring? And then no matter how much I loved it, in the end, again, the end did not satisfy me. So the rating that I gave Circe was 3.5. To always be clear about my rating, mention it on Goodreads, but I rounded it off to 4 because it was not that bad. Like, it was not as bad as 3 stars, but it was not as good as 4 stars, and I had to decide from 1, so I gave it 4 on Goodreads, but it's 3.5 to be specific. Do I recommend Circe? I think I would recommend it only to those people who are a fan of good writing and love to get lost in the moment and do not really care about the plot. If that's what you want, definitely go read Circe, and in that case, yeah, I would recommend both the Erin Morgenstern books as well. Go read The Starless Sea and The Night Circus. They're just like this. You would love them. After Circe, I read Flatshare by Beth. I forgot the author, but of course I'll add the cover over here so you'll know what book I'm talking about. That book was really sweet. I enjoyed it so much. So many times if I'm rating a book 3, it's because no matter how many flaws it has, it's a book that I enjoyed, and that it's a book that gave me a good time, and that's exactly what I wanted after Circe. I think, in fact, I started it alongside Circe. I started that as a buddy read with another friend, but she did not really feel comfortable reading it, and so she quit it, and I had to read it all by myself. And in the start, I was not really liking to read a book all by myself because I started it as a buddy read, and it's not easy for me to continue a book alone when I've started it with someone else. So I was not feeling really up to it, but then I started enjoying it a lot, and I loved it. I loved it a lot. Still, I did not rate it a lot. I think I rated it 3.5 stars because it was that good. But it was not as good as the books that I rate 4 stars, so I just could not rate it 4 star, just to maintain my rating system on Goodreads. Otherwise, I would definitely rate it 4, but it's not as good as my other 4-star rated books. That's what I am trying to convey. It's a romance book about 2 people who share a flat at different timings, and so they've never met. They talk through small notes that they write whenever they're in the apartment, and both have different things that they're dealing with in their life. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's not like it's very serious and you have to make a mood to read it. It's just a really fun and light book. One problem that I did have with this book was that the girl's POV was fine. The writing was simple. Everything was just fine. But the guy's POV was was full of errors, of grammatical errors. Like, you know how you say Mr. someone and you put a dot after MR? There was no dot after Mr. or Doctor or anyone. I don't know if I'm giving a very good example or not. I will add a screenshot over here because I read it as a PDF file. That guy just eats up so many words. There is no a, the, this. Like, there's so many words that he eats, and I'm like, why does he talk like that? And I just told myself that, okay, B, he is so busy, he does not even have the time to say all the words. And it actually helped me. To be honest, the major problem that this book has is the writing style that the guy's POV is written in. But other than that, the book was amazing. It was light, it was fun, it was enjoyable. It has good humor in it, and like, if you're looking for a book to just have a good time and not really expect much from it, I would definitely recommend you to read this one. If you like a good romance, yeah, go for it. Anyway, so I read 3 books in April: Chain of Gold, The Song of Achilles, and Six of Crows. I read 3 books in May: Cricket Kingdom, Circe, and Flatshare. And then finally June started. And so far this month I have read 4 books. I will count it as 4. If you have been watching my videos, then you know that I was rereading Lord of Shadows. Lord of Shadows is the second book in the Dark Artifices trilogy by Cassandra Clare. If you are planning on reading all the books in order, then I would definitely recommend you to read the Mortal Instruments first, because otherwise you will be spoiled for a lot of things that happen in the Mortal Instruments, as they are continuously mentioned and talked of in the Dark Artifices. But if you do not care about the Mortal Instruments and are not planning on reading it and don't care about the spoilers, then yes, you can definitely start with Lady Midnight. Lady Midnight is the first book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, then comes Lord of Shadows, which I'm talking about right now, and then comes Queen of Air and Darkness. And all of these books connect to the Last Hours, so read these before the Last Hours books. That reread has been so long, not because I did not enjoy the book. I loved it just as much, in fact more this time. The short story about why it took me so long to finish Lord of Shadows is that Chain of Iron is my most anticipated book of 2021, and I have not yet read it because after my reread of Lady Midnight, which I did in December of 2020, I was like, rereading the Dark Artifices would be great before Chain of Gold. But then I just did not get to it. My friend told me that she's gonna soon pick up the Dark Artifices books. We did start it together and she finished it and I did not, because she was reading for the first time, and of course it was her first time, so she was curious to know what happens next and she was just moving on and on. But since it was my second time, and all the Shadowhunter books that I am rereading, I, read them very slow because I'm making notes on those books. And then I got into the grishaverse to watch the TV show, and it was left out. Sometime I would read a few pages or a chapter at most, but then it was just not really getting my attention. And then, you know what happened? Cassie gave very small teaser about Chain of Iron. It was a message from Annabelle Blackthorne. I was like, okay, so this has definitely got a lot to do with Annabelle and Malcolm, and I just wanted to have all the information about it and absorb it and remember everything before getting into Chain of Iron, which is one of the reasons that I got more invested in reading Lord of Shadows so very attentively, and also the reason why I haven't gotten to Chain of Iron yet. Finally, in June, I finished Lord of Shadows and I loved it. I did not remember so many things, and I'm really curious to know what's up with her in Chain of Iron. I don't know if she has a big role or not, if it's just a message like the teaser says and nothing more than that. I have no idea. But after getting it, I just had to have everything fresh in my mind, and so the Lord of Shadows reread helped. I am thinking of rereading Queen of Air and Darkness as well before reading Chain of Iron, but I have no idea if I will get to it first or Chain of Iron or when that will happen. But in any case, I finally finished my reread of Lord of Shadows and rated it 5 stars. So the book that I read before finishing Lord of Shadows was Twilight. My friends and I decided to finally read it. The main reason that I picked up Twilight is that I hate the movie so much, and I know how so many people judge my favorite books just by those adaptations and how much it hurts. So I was like, I don't really care about the people who love the Twilight, but I just did care about how much I was judging it, and I was like, I need to give the books a chance. So I read Twilight. The only good thing about the book is that Bella and Edward both are way, way, way better in the books. In the movies, they are just trash, to be honest. I do not like Robert Pattinson, and I dislike him much, much more being Edward. I mean, him as Edward does not suit at all. I mean, who even thought that Robert Pattinson was the best person to play Edward? Like, Book Edward, I loved Book Edward in book 1, of course, but after reading the first book, I was like, I should watch the movie again, because the last time I watched it, I don't even remember when it was, and I watched the movie and it was fucked up. The movie is so ridiculous, so ridiculous. It eats up so many things that happen in the book, but in any case, the movies are ridiculous, horrible, terrible, but the book was way better. I rated it 3 stars in spite of all the flaws that the book has, because it was so bad and so ridiculous and so stupid at times that I just laughed, and I laughed so much. I enjoyed laughing at those moments and those things so much that I just could not rate it less than that. I mean, a 2 stars book is a book that I did not enjoy, but a 3 stars book is a book which has flaws and a lot of things, but I enjoy it. And so, of course, Twilight is a solid 3 stars for me. Then I read New Moon. To be honest, it deserves 0 stars, but of course you have to rate it something, and the lowest on Goodreads is 1, and so I had to rate it 1 star. But New Moon is the worst that I have read this year. Yeah, and whenever I do the mid-year book freakout tag, the worst book is definitely gonna be New Moon. It's the worst. It was so bad. There is no plot, nothing, and Bella is continuously just crying. The only thing that I liked about this book was Jacob, and don't even get much of him. I think Edward and Bella's relationship sucks. It sucks big time. Anyways, I am going to read the next books with my friends, and let's see what happens next. I hope I do enjoy it at least. I would definitely want to read a book that's at least 3 stars. I don't want to read books that are less than that, but New Moon just sucked so much. It was so fucked up. Not only plot-wise, the Bella-wise, you know, like her point of view is so boring. I think I mentioned it on Instagram and on Goodreads that I would recommend Twilight over ACOTAR any day. ACOTAR is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and I hate those books. And to be very specific right now, I only mean book 1. I only mean book 1. I would never ever recommend New Moon over anything, like even ACOTAR that I hate big time. Hate. I'm not saying I was disappointed in the books. I'm not saying that I dislike them. I'm saying I hate them. And those books that I hate so much, even those are better than New Moon. This book is just the worst that I have read this year. So now comes the last book that I have read so far in June, and that is a book that I downloaded through NetGalley, and it is, I forgot the title, Falling for You by Bailey B. It was a 3.5 stars for me. It was that good. I enjoyed it. It was a very short book. It was only, I think, 200 and something pages. It was just so cute and nice and simple. I mean, I've read a plot like this before in a trilogy. It was a romance trilogy I read last year. It's Beauty Trilogy by Georgia Cates, and it was very fun to read. If you love romance focused books with minus the fantasy, like it's not at all fantasy, then I think you would love the trilogy. And so this standalone book was very much the same as that Beauty Trilogy plot wise, but it was just fun. I really did like it. I would not say that I do not recommend it, but again, just like I said for Flatshare, if you're reading this book, I would suggest that you read it only for having a good time without expecting much out of it, and I think you'll have your good time. Yeah, that's all of the books that I have read so far from April to June. I will do my mid-year book freakout tag. I hope I get to it. I really want to do that tag. It sounds so much fun and I've seen so many people do it. Let's see what happens. My mids are coming. I don't want it to ruin this for me. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I have mentioned and what you thought about them. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys are all doing good. I hope your reading time is going good. That's it. I will catch up with you guys in my next video. Take care, Zilan, and goodbye.